everyone. Hello, and welcome back to another live session about social media, benchmarks, and everything in between. I'm very excited to be here as always and to get to know more people from around the world, even though in an online format. But really curious, where are you joining from today? Oh no, you can't hear me? Can you let me know? I have a message here that you can't hear me. Can you let me know in the chat if everyone can hear me? Okay, so maybe. Huh, okay. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so I'm starting again. So where are you joining us today? Let's see how small the world is and from what places you're watching and listening us. I'm really curious about also the weather because here we had some raining days and then some sunny days and I'm so like, can you pick a side? It's summer, so I want a bit of sun. Oh, Germany, beautiful and sunny. Wow, it's amazing to hear that. And northeast of England. Amazing. I've never been to England. So, guys, Q2 has finished in styles, and as you can probably feel, the summer slump is here. Engagement is a bit decreasing, but it's fair, right? I mean, people are on vacation, as we should be. Like, we deserve to be on vacation right now, but good thing we are together in this. I am Miruna. Nice to meet you, and I'm your host and also the social media manager at Social Insider. Social Insider is a social media analytics and benchmarking platform that helps you understand what's working, compare your performance, and build better data driven strategies. And for today's session, we're gonna discuss more about what happened in social from the first quarters of 2026 and what will happen in the next quarter, I mean the Q3. All this based on our studies, and in this way, you can refine your strategies. Also, I have a very important announcement. You can win a $50 gift card if you think today's session helped you learn anything, and you can share it on LinkedIn and please tag us so we can see the post and we will choose three winners. And the second big announcement of today, and as you can see, I'm not alone in this virtual room and I'm asking the other panelists to join from the backstage into the main feed because I want to introduce you our marketing minds of today who are gonna help us understand what's actually happening in Q3 2026. So we have here Emma Sneddon. I hope I pronounce it correctly. Hi, Emma. Nice to meet you. Emma is a freelance social media strategist working with wellness brands and founders. And thank you so much for being here with me. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Also good, a bit excited actually, and a bit nervous. We
Yeah.
also have here Ari Paulin. She's a senior marketing and social media manager at Shafiro Negotiation Institute. Hello, Ari.
Hi, Miruna. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super happy to be joining this Social Insider webinar.
I'm super happy to have you and to chat with you today as well. And we also have Jess Coleman. She's a director of social media and content at Discovery Place. Hi, Jess. I think your microphone is on mute.
Always, this always happens to me. If you work with me, you know this. So hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so, so much to everyone who's watching and for you for being here and taking this opportunity. So, I suggest I remind everyone here some key insights so it will be easier for everyone to follow the discussion afterwards because there are a lot of data. I've selected the most important insights from our studies, and I also want to thank our colleagues here in the office who work very, very hard to build these studies. I know they didn't ask me to say this, but I know they're watching, so I just want to let them know my appreciation and for their hard work. Um, So also, please, everyone who's watching, at any point you want to ask a question, just write it in the chat because I'm always watching, even though I talk a lot, I'm watching and I will prioritize your question. I mean, your questions are more important than my questions. So here are what I selected. First of all, the follower growth is slowing almost everywhere. We had this discussion in the past live session. If someone watched them, they know what I'm talking about. So on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, we saw double-digit year-over-year drops in audience growth rate in 2026. But Facebook is the outlier, doubling its growth rate instead. Also, people are watching more and engaging less. So comments dropped on Instagram and TikTok, and let's say DMs increasing more than commenting. Also, the format is shifting. Carousels and native documents are winning on saves and authority, and reels and video are winning on shares and reach. And static image are keep losing ground like everywhere. Instagram views jumped 26 year over year, while engagement rate failed. So more eyes, but less interaction. And my favorite one, and I think it's also your favorite point of discussion today. Social media SEO is shaping up to be one of the top trends of 2026. So I have prepared a document with a summary of all our studies, and I'm not sure if I can add a document in the chat, but I will make sure everyone will have it till the end of this live session. So now I feel like everything is settled, and I build the ground in here with the data. And before we get into the data, Ari, Emma, and Jess, I want to ask each one of you to describe a bit the current state of social media in maybe one word or a few words or one weird analogy. And I don't know who wants to start. I don't want to point someone. So if you would have to describe the current state of social media in one word, what would it be and why?
Okay,
I
I don't
can
mind
kick
going
it.
first.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I like that we're both eager. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't mind going first. So I would say that the party is moving backstage. I feel like we're no longer really seeing as much interaction, like likes, comment, visible interaction on the feed. It's much more the saves, shares, people sending each other DMs. So that's my sort of little analogy for it.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Jess? What
So
would you say?
it's actually interesting. Mine is similar. Mine is like, when you're at a dinner party and then it moves to the kitchen, like maybe not all of the people from the dinner party, but a lot of them move to the kitchen. So I'm thinking of like the loud public conversation on social media as being the dinner table. And then a lot of people are moving to a more private, intimate space to actually take action. And that would be the kitchen.
Love it, actually. It's a good
I
hook
really
also.
Yes,
Thanks.
I really like your analogies, Emma and Jess. I agree with you. And for me, it would be intentional if I have to describe current social media in one word, because now our audience is choosing selectively where they want to hang out, where do they want to engage, and what do they want to engage with, and who do they want to share it with. Before, we saw this big spike on followers, and that was the most important metric, as Social Insider has proved through the 70 million studies that they have performed. But now it's more intentional. So we have to be very selective about what they would put in front of them. And it's mainly not a matter of quantity, but quality.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And I like how you pointed about follower growth because that used to be a very, very important metric, you know? And right now we have two sides of professionals talking about follower growth. So we have this side, they are talking that it's a vanity metric. We should no longer measure it. And the other side who say, no, it's still important. Look why? Because it proves more loyalty. You don't, how can you prove for a C level in a report the social media success without follower growth. So we have two sides, and in the same time, the follower growth is down across so many platforms. So my question for you here now, it's if a brand in this quarter has this target or for follower growth, it's a bit unrealistic because of this. What should they actually change? The target, the strategy, or as some professionals said, the metric itself? What do you think? Whatever, who wants to answer? So here we're not pointing person. You just say whatever you feel when you feel.
Yeah, so I would say that it depends on a few other things before deciding if the metric itself, if you should lower the goal. So firstly, I would take a look at what else is happening on your accounts. If the engagements are still good, if you're still receiving inquiries, conversions, but the follower growth has slowed, then yes, maybe lower the goalpost, because then it's looking more like it is a platform issue there rather than your actual targets. But if everything else has sort of slowed as well alongside follower growth, then that to me usually points that there's a bigger issue and it's time to look more at the strategy as a whole.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Yeah, you're
I would like to
right.
jump in and compliment what Emma is saying. I agree that we don't have to solely look at followers. Um, Follower audience growth rate is one of the metrics that we need to take a look at because it's by percentage, not necessarily by numbers. It's not the same growing an account that has 1,000 followers than another one that has 1 million followers, and then growing them by 100. It doesn't represent the same in percentage. That's one of the things. So challenging that metric is definitely necessary. Looking also at engagement rate, as Emma was mentioning, is really important. So if you have that 1,000 followers, but everybody is engaged, that is quality audience that you have rather than empty shells of bots or empty followers that are not engaging with your content. And something else that we need to realize in this time of the world that we're living is AI visibility. That is another metric that I definitely want to put on the table because people now are going to LLMs and make these questions, and LLMs are citing more the content that is available for them. So we need to optimize the content also for GEO visibility and make sure that our LinkedIn content, YouTube, Reddit, which are the top three cited social sources, are being visible as well. So your followers may be reading your content even though they're not subscribing or actively following, but they're still reading what you're putting out there. So it's important to consider the whole picture, as Emma was mentioning.
Yeah, I'm so happy you bring this up because I just realized while you're talking that I'm doing it as a user. So
Hmm.
I need that answer fast. So I'm going to an AI and typing my question, then I get my answer, and I don't really interact with the citation, the brand citation or the page or
Hmm.
so yeah, I don't go to that point in the funnel where I check and follow and do other steps. So I just
Hmm.
take my attention. But maybe that brand, that publication, or whatever DI cited me, maybe it's still stuck in my brain. So next time I will need the same information, I will know where to go. So I'm really happy you bring this up because this is a very important topic nowadays, and it's something we are all struggling with. So not even for social media, but also for blog posts and everything. And I know my colleagues are still talking about this, and always is changing, and we always have to find new ways to make ourselves seen. And I'm actually very curious, back to my questions about follower growth, how our audience today, people who's watching us, feel about follower growth. Is still, in what place are you, in which side are you, agree that it's a vanity metric, or do you think it's still important? And you can leave your answer in the chat. I'm really curious to know and to learn more about this metric that is annoying me lately. Also, if you have other question, you can add it in the chat so I will see them. So, just do you want to say something about follower growth? I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No, no worries. I definitely would. So you asked if we should change like the target, the strategy, or the metric, and I'm going to
Yeah.
say all three should probably change. The platforms themselves have admitted that they've deprioritized follower growth, platforms specifically being Instagram and LinkedIn. Um, but their algorithms are rewarding, as mentioned already, saves, shares, dwell time, even like view time. And so if you swap the metric out for something more like reach or save rate, I think that that's going to be a better option than chasing a number that's already declining industry wide. So I would change the metric, then I would confirm the target, so set the goal, and then the strategy can follow from there.
Okay, well, that's a great point of view because you have to go in every place to look and to change, as you said, the target, the strategy, and the metric itself. But I have a follow-up question. I hope I don't put you in a difficulty or something. I know you're a director of social media, and I'm really curious if someone is asking the social media manager, so how can you prove social media success, but we know about follower growth problem? How would you do it? I mean, would you explain it and how so people who's watching us will I don't know, maybe someone have this problem. So how do we explain that follower growth is not if there is a problem with for the brand? How do we explain it to a I don't know a senior or your manager?
Yeah, I think leadership really wants to see something that acknowledges this gap that's happening. So I wouldn't exclude this from your reporting. I would definitely still report on followers, but I think that it starts to tell the full story, and the numbers start to make more sense when you do start to look at prioritize at least a different metric. So it doesn't have to always be like, are we going to include followers or not? It can be, we're keeping an eye on followers, but we know it's not the biggest indicator right now of success on a platform.
Thank you so much, Jess. I hope this helps whoever have this problem of reporting, especially on metrics that are a bit, I know, problematic right now.
Mhm.
Also, another metric that is discussing to be very important right now because it's keep the engagement high, and maybe it was just a rumor, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's cracking a bit the algorithm to put your posts in the For You page are comments, also saves and shares. And all these metrics are up. So in this case, people are turning somehow into lurkers who save content for later if it's interesting for them and share it if it's relatable. So, my question is should we focus more on these metrics when we plan the content calendar, let's say? Like, if is this the new goal of this quarter?
I would like to say that our content needs to have in mind how is it going to serve our audience and what value are we bringing to them. And mainly the idea of like what's the central idea? What do we want to solve for them? That they have a question, they have a pain point, and how are we serving our audience in that way? And that way, our content will become valuable for them to save, share, and even comment. And then later on, hopefully subscribe if the trend turns around again. But we don't have to plan around, numbers. We need to plan around how are we serving our audience and how are we bringing this value to them so they natively or naturally, organically, and naturally they do want to follow us and they do want to save this for later and say, I want to come back to this. This was so interesting. I want to share with my colleague because we have a similar issue, or I've seen them struggling with this other thing, or, different types of content. You have mom-related content, funny and entertainment content, educational content as well. And all of this can apply to those different types. So in the end, I think that the goal should not be how do we make our content calendar tailor for this metrics, but serving our audience first, and then the natural reward will be for them to be engaging with it through comments, saves, and shares.
Thank you. Exactly. And while you explaining, I realized this is exactly what we do because in Socialinsider we have content pillars, so it's easier for us to, let's say, plan a content calendar based on some pillars. So we just made a strategy and select some most important pillars that our audience wants, and it's easier to look at the metrics this way because analyzing which content pillars bring which metrics, it's easier for us to understand what content to create next. So basically, yeah, we don't, like you said, we don't rely on metrics, on numbers, but more on the themes and content pillars that bring those numbers. So what is more important for the audience to see? It's entertainment content, it's, I don't know, studies, or all these themes that make them to be loyal
Mhm.
loyal a loyal audience to us, and so to see us as a trusted source, as or an authority source. So yeah, you're totally right, Ari, and thank you so much for pointing this out. Do you
Kiruna, may I add something additional to
Yeah,
that?
of
Because as
course.
you're talking, I'm thinking about this analogy. Imagine that you're working out or having a healthier lifestyle with a balanced diet just because you want to hit a number, right? That is a vanity metric that if you're planning your content calendar around metrics is going to look like. But as soon as you stop dieting and you stop exercising, then all of that just gonna fall down because it's not based on a solid ground. Rather than having a lifestyle that is sustainable because you want to feel healthier, because you want to feel stronger, because your mobility needs to be increased, all of that, and you want to have, a healthy gut, all of that is a lifestyle that is going to be sustainable. So take that into social media. We're not going to try to hit a metric. We're trying to create content that is useful and that is relatable and that is has a longer lifespan for our audience and that is useful for them in the end. Not hitting a number on the scale, on the metric, but having a better lifestyle overall.
You're very good at analogies and metaphors. Let me say that since the beginning
Thank
of
you.
this live session, you brought out the best hooks and like stories for my next post. Sorry, I'm gonna cite it you, don't worry. But
Thank
like,
you.
but a very, very good one. And yeah, next time I'm planning my content calendar, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna think I'm dieting, even if in real life I'm not. But this way, maybe I will be on a diet. Amazing. Do you guys want to complete with something, and or we can move on to another question? What do you think?
I would just, to jump off the back of Ari, I totally agree that your content should be providing some kind of value or solving an issue for your audience. And I think that with the saves and shares being the metric that's gone up, it's at the moment that's kind of the metrics that are showing us if the content is landing, not if someone's just watched it. So I think when your goal is to provide value, and then if you're wondering if that piece of content has landed, the shares and the saves are a good way of deciding that.
Okay, so
I also, oh, God.
no, you can say it. I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
No, no worries. I was just gonna say I have this like little simple test that I run content through lately. So if it's going to be, I basically pick one intent, so like share worthy or save worthy. If it's share worthy, I make sure it's like we were saying useful, valuable, and referenceable. But if it's share worthy, I think it needs to be more emotion driven or relatable. And I think that's kind of at the root of why somebody would share or why somebody would save. So making sure that you really hone in on one of those goals as opposed to like muddying it up with trying to get, all the engagement, all the saves, all the shares, just narrow it down to one particular thing.
Yeah, I exactly, because like you said, we share it when we need it, and we save it when we need it, and we share it when we feel something. And
Mhm.
yeah, and maybe that's value about like social media value, to bring something. So it's maybe not always about the metrics or the numbers. Maybe it's sometimes about what you, I know, bring to the table. It's something sentimental, it's something, um, I don't know, encouraging. All these feelings bring value to your content. And I'm gonna stop now about comments, and we're gonna move on because the next question is actually something that I'm really excited to talk about because it's my favorite platform as a user, not as a social media manager, but as a user, TikTok is my favorite platform. So I'm curious about how things are moving on TikTok because engagement keeps climbing while the posting frequency is up to 40% year over year. So across every account size, so not just for, I don't know, small brands or big brands. So my question here, as a user or as a social media manager, is matching that volume realistic for a lean team, let's say, or it's a smarter way to compete without just posting more? So what do you think?
I want to
I can
go
take
into
this.
another. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jess.
Nope, you go ahead. Nope.
Okay. I want to jump into another analogy. As you can tell, I am
Queen of
very
analogies, everyone.
creative. Okay, so this 40% year over year increase in volume is like everybody shouting louder. Will everybody hear you and what you have to say? No, you have to be very specific and very clear about the message that you want to share, not continue shouting louder because then the room will get super loud to the point where nobody will be engaging, nobody will be listening to what each other have to say. People will get overwhelmed, overstimulated. They will drop and they will go into another place where it's quieter and they can actually choose what they want to listen. So your ideas need to be very clear, very specific. It doesn't mean that you need to increase your posting volume or your production volume by 40% because that takes a lot of manpower, a lot of money behind it as well, hours and a lot of resources behind it. I would suggest instead going with a distribution strategy here. So take a one long form piece that you already have created. For example, this interview in which we are right now, this webinar, a podcast that you were part of, something that you wrote, a blog post, something longer, and then repurpose it. And this applies for all social platforms, not only TikTok, but definitely video takes longer time for production. So your team or yourself, if you're a team of one, doesn't need more budget. It just needs to use the resources that are already available in a smarter way through a distribution strategy. And the algorithm in the end will not know how much time you spend in that beautiful video that got, 100 views and, it's already in there. Go take it out, give it another chance, create another hook, rephrase it, reframe the idea, and just give it another chance. Don't keep it there in the drawer after you spend so much time and resources into it, but give it new life by bringing it in front of people over and over through different angles.
Yeah, I totally agree with it. Just do you want to add something?
Sure. So I agree with Ari. I think that most teams probably don't have the resources or the bandwidth or the budget to produce unless you have a dedicated video team, which I feel like is so rare these days.
Yeah.
So instead, doubling down on your top performing content, I think is the way to go, especially if you already have a format that's been working. Just don't spread yourself thinner is I think the bottom line.
Okay, thank you so much for continuing. And I'm gonna ask Emma a question. Um, I know that it was a rumor when I started TikTok to have TikTok such a long time ago, that if you post more, your algorithm will push you to the For You page. Like that rumors with if you put the hashtag For You page or other things like that. So these things never work. So someone has to try and test it, and they will see that these things don't work. But what is exactly working on TikTok? Not to be viral, that's not our goal, but to be, I don't know, seen by the right audience.
Yeah, similar to what Jess and Ari said, I'm definitely a quality over quantity social media manager. I think putting your effort into something that's like much more targeted, adds value, and then repurposing that is much more useful than creating 10 different videos that are super low quality and that really aren't going to do much. And I also think as well that what's working on TikTok, especially now, is the social SEO, because if you have the proper words in your account and then you notice at the top there's like a little bar at the top, it will say, like, for example, if it's a post about job interview tips, it might say like job interview, and that shows that it's like actually pushing that out under those keywords. So I think definitely quality over quantity and SEO. I think that's probably the top drivers at the moment, rather than pushing out a load of content that really isn't going to do much.
True, and I believe everything you said because, like, my not groceries, but like, what if I want to buy a product like a lip balm, let's say, I'm not going on Google anymore. I'm going on
Mhm.
TikTok to see how it looks on people, what they say about. Like, this is my search engine right now, and I know a lot of people who's doing this as a user, but also sometimes as a social media manager. I'm going there, and when I'm writing my newsletter, I'm going, what's the social media trends for today or for this week? And it's easier to find them. But because you talk about social media SEO being very important, and we know it is, and this came so fast into our lives, I don't feel like I had time to prepare. I was never good at SEO before, so I had to learn about this stuff. So it's also being called one of the biggest trends this year, and I saw a lot of changes in the platforms, like on Instagram, the multiple captions for carousel, let's say, it brings such a value to SEO because more words, more keywords, more, I don't know, chances to describe the product or whatever you're selling. And also the Google Search Console, if you saw the news for updating the keywords to for Instagram, TikTok, and I don't know, I think YouTube, but not LinkedIn. So all this changing for SEO are bringing us to exactly our point, how important it is. So what's the first step, like a concrete step a team should take this quarter if they never have done any keywords or search intent for social media?
I think
I
the
think
first step has to be figuring out your keyword list, if you've never really used this before, because I think the SEO keyword list, it's going to be slightly different from your brand language. It's what your customers are actually searching. It might not be how you've necessarily described a product with like technical terms. So I definitely think that creating a list of keywords, and there's a couple of ways that you can sort of do this for free. So I know if you search in the Instagram search bar, if you start typing in a couple of words that relates to a phrase or a topic that's related to your brand, it will then automatically give you examples of like finished searches. And that's what people have been typing in there. And also on TikTok as well, the Creator Search Insights tab is very useful because they show you keywords related to your niche that are trending, that have had spikes, that maybe there's a content gap. So it's a keyword that people are searching, but not necessarily a lot of people are posting about. So that sort of gives you that like little advantage there. So I would definitely recommend starting to compile a list of keywords as like the very first step. And then after you have that, you can incorporate those keywords more regularly into your captions, your hooks, your on-screen text, and like your voiceovers or scripts for videos.
Wow, that's a great framework. I mean, that's a great start for everyone who, I mean, if you would tell me that, I don't know, a few months ago, it would be easier for me to start it as well. But thank you. That is a great framework. And what do you think, Jess? You wanted to say something in the beginning.
Yeah, I think a simple, like a really informal audit of like, let's say the last 20 posts. Specifically, I'm thinking of LinkedIn, but let's say if just look at your posts and see if somebody was searching for what the subject, the topic that you're writing about is, would the first line give them any idea? Would it give the computer behind all of the SEO, would it give the algorithm an idea of what your topic is? And then, so that's the first step, and that costs nothing, just to make sure that you're not starting with like
Mm.
a CTA or a pun or something like that. Um, so making sure that it's a little more plain English like that. And then back to your point about the per slide caption update that they made last month in Instagram. So for carousels, if someone doesn't know, it used to be that you could have 20 slides and one caption would have to carry the weight of all of those slides. But now you can have, as they swipe on a slide, a new caption can appear. So that is super helpful, so that it's not, one caption isn't trying to cover the entire carousel. So I think those two options are a great place to start.
It is indeed. I'm not sure if everyone has this update, but I think it does, right?
Yeah.
But it's a great one. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of more time to add in your task for it, or I don't know if you have to get a how is it called? Never mind. I don't remember. I remember afterwards. Yeah, so it takes a lot of time to do it if you want a great SEO caption, but it's worth it. I mean, I've seen a slightly increase in it, and because you talk about carousel, I just reminded of a big problem of mine with carousels and SEO on LinkedIn. Because as you know, we don't have a proper way to upload the carousels on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn for B2B is the best platform, and carousels are the best performing post at this moment. So yeah, we don't have, for example, like we have for image and a text for the image. So how we do SEO for carousels on LinkedIn? How would you do it?
Were you
I would
asking me
say,
or? Oh, go ahead.
yeah. No,
Everyone.
okay. Um, I just want to go back a little bit on what Emma and Jess were talking about. I think that social SEO needs to solve the question that the audience is looking for, right? That is the main goal. That also applies for LinkedIn. So our caption needs to be solid enough. It needs to be nurture enough to solve those questions for the audience because they will be typing in into Google, into another search engine. And let's remember that AI is now rising and almost taking over Google search. And now even Google search has this new AI feature that it gives you a summary and you want to be cited in there. So if your copy on LinkedIn, specifically talking about B2B, covers the question that the audience is looking for and it has those keywords, it will start ranking and it'll start getting cited. Also, let's remember that LinkedIn is the third most cited social source by LLMs. It may vary, YouTube and Reddit are the top one and two, and then LinkedIn comes in at third. So it's really important that if you are a B2B brand, you need to have your presence there, educate your audience through carousels, make sure that your copy that you're writing is um, very well written, but also don't leave behind LinkedIn articles. If you are looking for a LinkedIn B2B strategy, especially to be cited on LLMs, that's where the LLMs are pulling data from.
Yeah. Okay, that's great, but just make me feel like it's such a battle right now. There are so many places you have to be, I don't know, to be aware of, and that's
Mhm,
great, Ari, that you remind us about it because I never thought of articles this way
mhm,
before you mentioned about LLMs, and I don't think I ever published a LinkedIn article. But if
mhm.
I'm thinking about right now, it will be worth it, especially if you have a B2B brand that wants to say something. I mean, definitely. Um, yeah, SEO, it's right now very, very important. But also, mm, I'm a bit curious to know. Um, more about I had this conversation and I'm just trying to remind myself in my head what was the main I don't know driver that brought me to it, but I'm just gonna say it exactly how I feel it because as a social media manager, things are becoming harder and harder to understand the social media space and your audience, and they become also lurkers, but still we have some pretty valuable audience who stick with our brand. And I don't know, I kind of feel like everyone is so afraid of AI and how AI is gonna take our job and stuff like this. Even though I'm using AI, I mean every day as a social media analyst with MCP and with a lot of stuff, it's helping me. But still, it's my ally. I don't feel it like
Yeah.
as a threat, but when you mention it more and more, I kind of feel like it's here always in my neck.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Mhm,
how do you feel about AI, and how should we? This was not scripted, but you just brought about it, and I know because I'm scrolling on LinkedIn and I see that a lot of social media managers are struggling with this. So,
mhm,
how um, I I I know how to put it into words, but how can we draw this line
mhm,
into authentically, but with the AI help? But AI
mhm.
help for me, in my vision, is like help me to gain more time to do something more
Yeah.
creative or something more valuable for my audience. I want to spend more time to create this amazing carousel, but I don't want to spend 5 hours make a social media report. So,
Mhm.
what do you guys think?
I have another analogy for this one, if I may.
Of course.
So, just AI is another tool, and it's part of the revolution that we're currently living, right? We are in a technological revolution. We cannot deny it. We cannot fight it. We need to embrace it and make the best out of it. Imagine when industrial revolution came in and all these factories were firing hundreds, thousands of workers, manual workers, because now they were replaced by a machine. Who were the ones who were left with a job? The ones who knew how to operate the machine. So you need to learn how to use these tools because they are tools. They're not replacing human thought. They're not replacing the human in the loop. And again, another analogy is when the car was invented, people didn't stop walking. They just got to a place faster. So AI in this era is helping us get to manual or processing tasks to process large data points into something that is digestible that would take us hundreds of hours and training and that we don't have, and we're letting the machine do that, but we need to be still in the loop. How many AI generated images that you see on a daily basis? People are not even paying attention to that anymore. Kids My children, I know for sure that they go around, they say, that was AI generated. I already know, like, like that's so low effort. I can even do that in my own computer. So you need to prove yourself valuable by using these tools smartly to save you time where possible, but knowing that the human brain will always be needed as the human in the loop.
Yeah, exactly how I feel about it. Like I said, I feel like it just gives me more time to
Hmm.
be creative rather than spend a lot of time doing manual work. And
Hmm.
yeah, I feel that about AI, and it's helping me do more important things, task in my job regarding the data. But I'm gonna stop the discussion about this here. And thank you so much for bringing this out. It was something on my heart for such a long time, and I'm sure, like I said, I've seen the discussion on LinkedIn
Hmm.
so much. I also saw another discussion on LinkedIn, and I think that's gonna be my last question because we're running out of time. And if someone has another question from the audience, that's the moment when you can ask it in the chat. But yeah, regarding what I also notice on LinkedIn, it's a growing argument about company pages that are becoming, let's say, a bit irrelevant, that reach has shifting almost entirely to personal profiles, or I don't know, creators' profiles or employees, and that brands should stop investing in the page itself and put the energy into founders, employee content, I don't know, or partnership. So, do you agree with that, or is that overcorrection? And if a company only has budget for to build one thing from all of that this quarter, the page or the people, which one should be?
I think it should be the page. I'm not the page. I'm sorry. I would put the money behind the people. I would invest in the people, but I would not disregard the page. I don't think it's irrelevant. I think it's when you start building up all of this momentum on your personal profile, it needs a place to land and a place to become credible. And of course, it has a utility in job postings or updates, company-wide updates. So I wouldn't completely disregard the page, but people is where it's at. I also recently saw on LinkedIn that there was a company that was incentivizing their people to, like with actual money, to post and to tag the page, and it was working. And they had it. I can't remember the exact stats, but the page was like in uh, four-digit growth. So even just by being associated with those personal profiles that are posting.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. So you would put the effort into the people, but not forget about the page.
Yep.
So if you
Mhm.
have a budget, go to people and organically do it on page. Am I right?
Totally.
Okay.
Yes.
Emma, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I would totally agree with Jess. I think that people are important, but like don't forget the company page, because one of the other things with employee advocacy is if that person leaves, then that's it. Like they're gone, they're not associated with your brand anymore. They're moving on to different things. Their followers, the people that are invested in them, are going to follow them. So yeah, I think it's great to build up your employees, especially the founder. Like founder led pages always seem to perform well. People love learning about founder stories. But in terms of the long term strategy, don't forget about the company page. I think they both have to sort of sit alongside each other.
Yeah,
Agree.
totally agree. And Ari, do you want to add something?
I think the three of us have similar minds here. The company page is definitely important for trust building and brand building, but the people are the ones that are giving the human face again to the brand. So we want to hear their stories. We want to hear what they have to say as a person. And people right now, considering the amount of content that is out there, as we saw on TikTok being having, a 40% increase year over year. They want to connect with people. They want to feel heard and they want to have this connection because let's don't forget that social media starts with social and social is about people. So that is the human element that needs to be part of every brand strategy for content amplification to have your page solid and with educational content, and then having your employees engaged as well. And also the founders, as Emma was mentioning, it doesn't necessarily need to be only the founder, but some leader, thought leader within the company that they have something to share on a perspective on something that is happening in the industry right now, something reactive or something that they're reflecting about and we don't see as regular humans or peasants, if you want to call us, right? But they see it from their perspective, and we want to learn from them. So yes, people is the most important thing on social media, but the page is definitely important as well.
I totally agree that people are the most important in social, and what you said about social being people first. But
Mhm.
my question now will be how we make the people to be, how we can convince, how can we make this plan to have a great employee generated strategy. I mean, I've seen some discussion about it, and I also seen an article with someone, a true story, who made a great plan for everyone, every member of his team to join the challenge, and it was amazing. But how would you do it?
I
Is it
think
a
I would
question for me or for?
encourage.
Okay, go
Oh,
ahead, Jess. Go ahead.
I think
I
I'm
think I
gonna
would
change this
encourage.
strategy.
I would encourage working with the platform's actual behavior as far as if you're thinking of what kind of content could your people be posting. I
Mhm.
think that think of it less like content and think of it more like explained thinking. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking of like talking heads on a certain topic or like a screen recorded walkthrough of a process or something like that. Like have the people know that are posting on behalf of your company, really let them lean into something that they would find valuable or that they have anecdotally heard other people are struggling with, and let that answer that lingering question that's hanging in the air. um, so I would definitely work with the platform's behavior and work with the user's behavior as far as what they post.
Okay, but and if someone, let's say an employee your teammate doesn't have a social media experience at all,
Mhm.
should we give them, I don't know, heads up on,
Coaching.
yeah, coaching?
Yes.
Would that be helpful?
Absolutely. They need some guidance because people have they're experts, right? They're experts in their matter, and they don't know how sometimes how to communicate it or how to be confident on social media. And I think that it's our job as social media managers that we put ourselves out there, that we have lost all sorts of shame and we just experiment live and are learning in public, and we can bring them and help them build that confidence. I am very proud to have done this in a previous agency for a cohort of 9 people, and I held
Wow.
sessions, coaching sessions, and it was very interesting seeing them grow. And I still support them because I love seeing people grow and show themselves online and share their ideas, which I'm not an expert on. They are. They're account managers, AI experts, thought leaders in their area, and I just give them the tools to put those ideas in front of people and examples. Or sometimes you're in a call with somebody and you say, "Hey, this is perfect idea for social media. Go write something about it, or run the transcript through ChatGPT, Claude, and ask it to give you some ideas and." Teach them how to use the tools that we have at hand so they can build that confidence as well. And some hand holding. Some people need a little bit more, some people need a little bit less, but still we need to be providing that coaching for them.
Yeah, I totally agree. We have to give them some guidance and maybe a little bit of help on I don't know, technical
Mhm.
problems of every platforms, what to expect, what
Yeah,
how to read some metrics, like basic metrics. They don't have to
yeah.
be a social media analyst from yeah. So thank you. Thank you for all this guidance about employee content. And I have one more question. We have 5 more minutes, so I hope we can make the most of it. So given everything in the data and everything we've been talk about, what's one thing a social media team should stop doing this quarter? So I don't know. Let's say let's stop doing in this quarter to make a free uptime for something that actually moves the needle. Would you be
I
something? Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think that stop posting on platforms or using formats like just for the sake of it because you think it might be popular or um like trending, but it's not really giving you any results for your business or it's not actually moving the needle. I think if, for example, you're posting on LinkedIn, but your audience isn't really there and your audience is on TikTok and you're posting on TikTok too, then give up LinkedIn and put your all into TikTok. And then that gives you more time to focus on social SEO, to audit the account more, to see what's really working, and to test more templates, more formats, and to shift the conversation more to the DMs, like focus on the things that the data is actually pointing towards rather than staying on a platform just because you think you should be there when it's not really giving you any results.
Yeah, that's a totally great advice. Would you like to add something, Jess?
Yeah, I think that I would stop. I think the lowest return format for posting right now on any platform is a static image. So I would probably stop putting my efforts in there. Um, Especially if you're looking at it like it needs a fresh, like custom design from scratch every time. That's a huge waste of time. So I would actually put those hours back into content creation, of course, but specifically, I would be looking at carousels and I would be spending time, um, writing SEO captions or SEO friendly captions.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. And Ari, would you like to say something from the last time today?
Yes, absolutely. My advice would be to stop treating every piece of content like a one-time event because we are leaving so many opportunities by producing new content instead of distributing and repurposing the one that we already have that has powerful ideas. So our challenge here is to make our ideas discoverable for all the people down the funnel, across the funnel, and that's why distribution is so important. So just jump into it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. There was such a lot of great insights today. And if you're watching the recording version or you're watched live, I hope you like it. I hope you learned something from it. And before everyone goes, let me remind you that you can win a $50 gift card if you just tag us in a post about this live session, and we will choose 3 winners. With that being said, thank you so much, Ari, Emma, and Jess. Please, before you go, let everyone know where they can find you, even it's on LinkedIn or what's your favorite network to be reach out or to chat on. You can add it in the chat if you want, or you can tell it out loud. I also want to remind everyone that I added the document I was talking about in the beginning, so I hope you can you can take it from here. If not, you can always email me and I can send it to you. And yeah, I oh, great, you added your LinkedIn and also Jess, Ari, and Emma. Can you do you also want to perfect. Yeah, I've seen it. I didn't want to close it before to end it before you added your LinkedIn. So thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much to my panelists, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for
you.
Bye.
having us.